turmeric. That golden spice, it's been studied like crazy, thousands of papers. We've all got it in our kitchens probably. And it gets called this magic herb, this amazing natural anti-inflammatory. But here's the thing, the huge catch that almost nobody talks about. 9 times out of 10, we're the ones neutralizing it. We're using it completely wrong. So all those potential benefits, and they are genuinely massive, they're just, well, go down the drain, literally. So this deep dive, this is for you. We're going to give you the exact playbook, how to really get the power out of curcumin. We'll show you the 3 common foods that actually cancel its effects, the single biggest mistake almost everyone makes, and then the 3 keys you absolutely need to guarantee your body actually absorbs it.
Yeah, and it's really important to understand why you'd even bother fixing this. Why care about absorption? Because the main compound we're after, curcumin, it works across so many different systems in the body. It's not just one thing. We're talking real support for issues like managing diabetes, helping with symptoms of clinical depression, even helping your body fight off certain viruses, and easing tough PMS symptoms. It's systemic.
That's exactly why I wanted to do this deep dive. The
Yeah.
research goes way beyond just, it helps my joints. Some of the benefits I found of the material were real eye-openers for me. Like there's data suggesting curcumin is fantastic for your heart health. It seems to actively help lower the bad cholesterol, LDL, the stuff that builds up plaque. So it could play a role in preventing heart disease. But what really got me was the brain connection. Research points to it reducing inflammation specifically in the brain. That could mean protection against things like Alzheimer's. That's huge.
And internally, that anti-inflammatory power, it really is broad. It gives significant help for different kinds of joint inflammation, sure, but also chronic gut issues like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And we're even seeing promising, though early, results about inhibiting tumor cell growth in some studies. Plus, it seems effective for those annoying systemic things that pop up externally too, like stubborn headaches or chronic skin problems, acne even.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because almost all of those things you listed, cholesterol, brain health, gut health, they all seem to loop back to one crucial, often overworked organ.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, pretty much all those benefits rely on supporting the body's main processing plant, the liver. Curcumin seems to play a really vital role in protecting and strengthening the liver. And that's critical, especially with so many people dealing with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease these days.
So what's it actually doing for the liver? Is it clearing out fat or helping in the process better? Or
Both, really. Think of the liver as this incredible chemical factory. It handles your metabolism, your immunity, digestion, detox pathways, storing vitamins, regulating blood sugar. It also makes bile, which you need to digest fats. Curcumin helps regulate the liver enzymes that neutralize toxins. And studies also suggest it helps manage fat metabolism right inside the liver cells. So when you support the liver with something like curcumin, you're not just treating one symptom, you're helping stabilize the whole system.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's get into the massive, the single biggest mistake that stops probably 90% of people from ever getting these benefits we just talked about. This one mistake just cancels out all that potential healing power. And the mistake is thinking that just taking curcumin with water is okay. Making a turmeric tea or just sprinkling some spice on your food and thinking, great, it's in my stomach, job done. People do this every single day. They think they're being healthy, but it's a completely wasted effort.
Yeah, this comes down to basic chemistry, and you just can't argue with it. Curcumin isn't water-soluble, it's fat-soluble. Strictly, it's like trying to mix oil and water, right? They just don't combine. The oil floats. Curcumin does the same in water.
Ah, okay. Like those fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K. You always hear you need fat to absorb them. Curcumin's in that same boat.
Exactly the same principle. It needs a fatty taxi, if you will, to get carried through the intestinal wall. If you just take it with water, your body can't really pull the active curcumin out of your gut and into your bloodstream effectively. The bioavailability, how much actually gets in, is almost zero. It's not just reduced, it's for all practical purposes. It just passes straight through you. All those benefits, gone. You basically just paid for expensive seasoning for your toilet bowl.
Wow. Okay, so the stakes are really high then. If just taking it with water doesn't work, now we need to talk about these 3 specific types of common foods, stuff pretty much everyone has at home. And these don't just fail to help absorption, they actively block it. Or they can even degrade the curcumin itself. And sometimes mixing these can cause side effects too, right? Like heartburn, especially for maybe older people or those with sensitive digestion.
Exactly. When you're combining things, especially delicate natural compounds like curcumin, stability, and the environment matter hugely. Let's hit the first category.
All right, number 1, processed dairy products. So we're talking flavored milks, sugary yogurts, most coffee creamers, whipping cream, and those highly processed cheeses like maybe cream cheese, some cheddars, mozzarella slices.
Yes. The problem here is really two things: additives and sugar. These products are often packed with preservatives, stabilizers, artificial flavors, loads of added sugar. Those stabilizers and emulsifiers, they're designed to make the product smooth and uniform, right? But they can really complicate digestion. They can kind of coat the gut lining, making it super hard for the curcumin molecule to even get near the intestinal wall to be absorbed. So if you're stirring turmeric into your morning coffee with that flavored creamer, thinking you're doing something healthy, that's the exact problem. The compounds are basically fighting each other in your gut.
Oh man, I know people who do that. Or mix it into their sweetened yogurt. That really highlights the conflict.
It really does. It just becomes counterproductive. Okay, the second food type to be careful with, to avoid combining with your main turmeric dose, is anything really acidic or vinegary. Think pickles, ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, or salad dressings that are heavy on white vinegar or apple cider vinegar.
Destroyed, or is it just sort of blocked?
It's more like the first one. Curcumin is surprisingly sensitive to pH levels. Really high acidity can actually cause the curcumin molecule itself to break down. It changes its structure, so it basically becomes inactive junk before your body can even try to absorb it. And like you mentioned, if you already have issues like acid reflux or just a sensitive stomach, mixing curcumin with really acidic stuff can definitely trigger discomfort, bloating, heartburn, because you're stressing an already tricky environment.
Right, so the practical tip here is pretty simple then. If you love your pickles or vinegary salads, just have them at a different time. Keep them separate by a few hours from when you take your turmeric.
Precisely. Timing matters. Okay, and the third thing that really gets in the way of curcumin working properly is maybe the most common conflict in our diets today: sugary grains and baked goods. We're talking refined cereals like cornflakes, cakes, cookies, sugary white breads, pastries, that kind of stuff.
Now, this might seem obvious, like, yeah, sugar's bad, but there's a specific functional conflict here, right? It's more than just general health advice. These refined sugars, they cause this rapid spike in inflammation. They mess with your metabolism, spike your blood sugar almost immediately. And that's the exact opposite effect that turmeric, with its long-term anti-inflammatory action, is trying to achieve.
It's a direct conflict, a biological clash. Your body gets hit with that sugar spike, and it has to deal with an immediate crisis managing the glucose overload and the inflammatory response that comes with it. So the body naturally prioritizes that immediate sugar threat. It puts its resources there instead of focusing on the chronic inflammation or oxidative stress that the curcumin is meant to be helping with. Plus, just generally, large amounts of sugar tend to hinder the absorption of lots of beneficial nutrients, and curcumin is likely one of them. So if you're using turmeric specifically to help with diabetes or joint pain or to protect your brain health, combining it with sugary foods is just deeply counterproductive. You're working against yourself.
Okay, so we've nailed the big mistake, taking it with water and the three main blockers: processed dairy, high-acid foods, and sugary stuff. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Now that we know what not to do, let's flip it. Let's talk about the three essential methods, the keys that guarantee your body can actually absorb the curcumin. This is how you turn wasted spice into a real powerhouse.
Right. And it all circles back to that primary mechanism we talked about: solubility, which leads us straight to key number one, method one. You absolutely must consume it with fats. We've said it before, but it bears repeating. This is non-negotiable. It needs that fatty vehicle. So whether you take it alongside a meal that has some fat, or just with a small spoonful of olive oil or a few nuts, even a glass of full-fat milk, the fat acts as that essential shuttle service. It helps the curcumin pass through the intestinal lining and get into your bloodstream. That's how it reaches your liver and other tissues where it can do its work.
Okay, fat is essential. Got it. Method two is one people might have heard about, but maybe don't realize just how important it is. You need to add black pepper.
Yes. Black pepper contains a key active compound called piperine, and piperine is, well, it's almost miraculous in this context. It can boost the absorption of curcumin by an incredible amount. Studies suggest up to 2,000%. This isn't just a little helper, it's a vital, game-changing partner.
Whoa, hold on. 2,000%. That sounds almost too good to be true. Like, is there a catch? Is taking that much pepper bad? Or is it really just a straightforward win?
It really seems to be a straightforward win for maximizing curcumin. Piperine works in two main ways here. First, it seems to make the intestinal wall slightly more permeable temporarily, making it easier for the curcumin molecules to pass through. Second, it briefly slows down the liver enzymes that would normally break down curcumin very quickly and get rid of it. This gives the curcumin more time circulating in your bloodstream to actually get into your cells, and that's why you'll almost always see black pepper extract listed as piperine or bioperine on the ingredient list of any good quality curcumin supplement capsule. They know it's crucial.
Wow. Okay, so if you're just using turmeric powder from your spice rack at home, that little pinch of black pepper you add is potentially making the turmeric 20 times more effective.
That's the potential, yes. It makes a massive difference. And finally, method number 3. This is one that people using the powder at home often miss, using temperature smartly.
Right. Apply brief heat. You're not talking about cooking it to death,
Yeah.
right? Just warming it up a bit.
Exactly. Lightly sautéing your turmeric powder or just gently heating it for a very short time with your food, especially with the fat source, can increase its absorption quite dramatically. Some figures suggest up to 12 times better absorption compared to taking it cold or raw. The heat seems to help the fat and the curcumin compounds mix better on a molecular level. It sort of unlocks the active ingredient, making it more ready for absorption, more bioavailable even before it hits your stomach. The key is brief heat. Don't overcook it or burn it. Just warming it through with that fat source seems to be the sweet spot.
Okay, great. So let's quickly recap the big takeaway for you listening. If you really want to unlock all those amazing benefits we talked about, fighting depression, inflammation, helping your heart, your brain, you absolutely have to focus on the 3 keys. Take it with fat, add pepper, piperine, and use gentle heat. And at the same time, you've got to consciously avoid mixing your main dose with those processed dairy products, highly acidic foods, and refined sugary stuff.
Exactly. When you make these small, specific adjustments, you're shifting from just hoping you get a benefit, which is frankly what happens when you just stir it in water, to actually setting yourself up for success. When you maximize absorption using fat, pepper, and heat, that's when you can realistically expect to feel a tangible difference over time with chronic issues you might be dealing with. It really can make a difference.
It really makes you think, though. Curcumin is obviously super sensitive to how it's delivered. It needs specific partners' fat, piperine, and even the right temperature to work properly. The fatal flaw was absorption. And if something as simple as adding black pepper can boost it by 2,000%, well, it makes me wonder, how many other potentially powerful, maybe expensive, natural supplements are we all taking right now without checking, if we're including the necessary cofactor? That tiny ingredient needed for it to actually work. What other beneficial nutrients might we just be paying for, only to have them pass right through us unused? Definitely something to think about next time you look at a supplement label or plan a meal. Context and absorption really are key.